Hello Christchurch Network, lovely to be back with you. Sorry I've not made a video for a few weeks, life's been a bit crazy as I'm sure you all know, back to school and everything. I've been looking forward to this week, Holy Week, for a long time. Obviously everything's still really odd, but I love this high point in the church's year where we move through the incredible drama of Palm Sunday and then through this story of Jesus' journey to the cross and anticipating Easter Sunday and the resurrection. It's the high point of the church's year. I love engaging with it. Some of you might have seen on Facebook I've been doing just a little kind of blog post each day thinking about a song that I could take from our wider culture that could be like a soundtrack for that day, retelling the story, thinking about how does our culture find these emotions and these storylines. So if you're on Facebook, check that out. Let me know what songs you would choose. But for today, I wanted to think about the pandemic. It is still there, isn't it? We started our week as a family going back into self-isolation because the kids had come down with coughs, they'd been hacking away, and we got to Sunday night having not seen anyone for a couple of days because we weren't going to, and realising actually, you know what, we're going to have to get tested, we're going to have to self-isolate. So Monday morning we went down through the walk-through test centre, and thankfully by Tuesday morning it came back all negative. I mean, Caden's still full of snot, but what are you going to do? He's 3. And so I was a little bit shocked, but maybe not that shocked, when this morning I was listening to the radio and it came up there's been a report done that says that less than 1 in 5 people have been going to get tested when they have COVID symptoms. That most people know what the symptoms are. We've had it drilled into us that if you have a fever, if you have a new persistent cough, if you have your sense of smell or taste goes funny, then that could be a symptom of COVID. Please self-isolate, please book a test. But fewer than 1 in 5 people have actually been following that advice and doing what we've all been told we need to do. It's remarkable, isn't it? Less than 20% of people. And I guess I can empathise. I do understand. Joanne and I sat on Sunday evening thinking through the consequences of this realisation where we'd said, you know, we're sat listening to our children cough away upstairs. That means on the first day when everyone's allowed to meet in gardens, we're going to have to stay inside. It meant changing plans for seeing family. It meant changing plans for me of joining in, coming into the Christchurch Centre to be involved with work things, just our whole day, and potentially thinking, well, you know, this could be the next 2 weeks. We could have lost the school holidays. It would have been so easy to have just pretended, just quietly not said anything. But then what if it was COVID? And we've been spreading that around all the people we've met, the people that we want to spend time with, our family, our friends. And so we kind of went that way of kind of feeling, oh, it's really inconvenient, but we want to be responsible citizens. It makes me feel a bit sad, actually, that so many people maybe seem unwilling. But then it's something very human, isn't it? Later on in the radio program I was listening to this morning, they started interviewing someone who's in a new position for public health. And as the interviewers will do, they were saying, oh, you know, will you admit that there were mistakes made earlier on, you know, this time last year? And the person just was not prepared to admit any faults that they said, oh, we're learning from our experiences. Very kind of working around, very political language of trying to escape responsibility, trying to escape any possibility of admitting that they were wrong, that things went wrong. And thinking about today, where we are in Holy Week now, we're sat on Maundy Thursday. This evening we'll be thinking about Jesus and his friends sitting down to the Passover meal, what becomes for us the Last Supper. And in John's account of that, we see this incredible image of Jesus washing his disciples' feet. But what does Peter do when Jesus says, I'm going to wash your feet? He puts a towel around his waist and gets the water. And Peter says no. Peter refuses. There's something in there about power dynamics, about you're my master, I don't want to be served by you. But I think there's something there as well about vulnerability, about the very human thing of pushing back, of not wanting to admit any fault, of not wanting to admit any defect, any problem, that it makes us vulnerable. It can feel a bit anxious. And maybe Peter thinks, well, if he sees how dirty my feet are, I mean, what's he going to say about the rest of me? Now with Jesus, we know, we see the story move on, and he says to Peter, Peter, you need to do this. You need to let me wash your feet. And Peter does let him. And instead of kind of an awkward and uncomfortable thing, we see Peter being brought into good relationship with Jesus, being shown how to serve and how to love. And Jesus uses that as a wonderful example, says, you should do this to others. Sometimes I wonder, how much do I need to let other people wash my feet? I need to let myself be tested. I need to let myself have it pointed out when I've made mistakes. I need to allow myself to be flawed and vulnerable because I really am. And because it's only when I allow those things to be real that we can be in good relationship, that we can honestly learn together and move forward. And when I don't end up just perpetuating my mistakes, walking around the room with muddy feet like Peter would have been, or walking around the streets potentially with COVID because it's too awkward or too uncomfortable to admit that I might need a test just to check. And so this is not a COVID pandemic announcement, just a thought there about vulnerability, about allowing ourselves to be put in place of risk, and especially with Jesus, but with our others around as well, friends and family and our neighbourhood. Are we able to be vulnerable, to be honest about our flaws and our mistakes, and to be cared for by other people, and to care for others in that leadership, that servant leadership way that Jesus shows? God bless you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you again soon.